We are live with the Short-Term Rental Pros podcast. Today, we are here with one of my, honestly, maybe my favorite service provider in the short-term rental space. Alex is solving a need that I didn't even know I was going to have when I got into short-term rentals, but very quickly it became very, very, very evident. So, Alex, man, thank you so much for coming today, and tell us about yourself. How'd you get into short-term rentals, and what does CanMonkey do?
Jeremy, thank you so much for having me. This is awesome. Thank you for the introduction. And I mean, it surprised me too what I do every day, taking cans to the curb and back. I pinch myself that this turned into a job, let alone a career, let alone a business that I get to work with some of my best friends and provide a service across the country of an issue that everyone needs. And so my background is in real estate, working with title and escrow with real estate, like companies and individuals. It wasn't until 2018 when my business partner came to me with the CanMonkey idea, helping homeowners with their can to curb, that I saw from my background a need in the Airbnb short-term rental industry, and started really going after that industry, that niche, end of 2018, all of 2019. And in 2020, the pandemic happened, as everyone knows. And for us, our business kind of propelled forward. And I took that as a sign that I'm going to go all in on CanMonkey during that pandemic. No one really knew what the world was going to happen, but we did know in that, April, May, June, that people were staying in short-term rentals, and that was picking up. So some of the worst crazy times actually was kind of a blessing for us in this business, and really helped us see the need and focus in growing it. And so now where we're at is in 18 states, 85 cities, helping hosts and owners with the weekly tedious task of taking the trash recycling cans to the curb and back again once emptied.
I love that. So just for those of you who aren't familiar with your service, and correct me if I am wrong, but what you do is you are not a trash service in the essence where you pick up the trash and take it to the dump. You are a service in the sense where you get the trash cans from the property to the curb. So the city or whatever the service provider, the actual trash company will come and get them. Is that correct?
That is correct. Our bread and butter, what we have coined and what they created a category for us, is the can to curb category. So
the Uber for can to curb.
Yes, Uber trash. We automate trash day. Trash day, where usually the youngest person in the family is dealt with that responsibility of taking the cans to the curb. That's what we've automated. We are not a junk removal company. We're not a waste management company. We are the gap. We are the in-between of getting your property's cans from the side of the yard or in the garage, wherever they're stored, to the curb on the designated day that the city needs to come and pick it up and remove it. And then once the city empties those cans out, we come and return them back to the original location. We take photos, they're time stamped. We have geolocation from the application from the apps that our can runners are using. So you see the last location where the can was at. So kind of what we were talking about before this conversation, we have some like rural houses. So it shows our clients where exactly on the property where the can was located, making sure it's right where we need to know. We're really good instruction takers. So as long as our clients tell us where the cans are at and how to get there, we follow those rules and do what we need to do.
So, and what I want to get into is, why is this important? Why is not having excess trash or having the guests to have to take the trash to the curb important? And I'm going to speak from my personal experiences, and I'm going to talk about the properties that you do service. So I've got 25 listings, North Carolina, Florida, Smoky Mountains. You service the properties in Florida. Unfortunately, I was trying to get Alex earlier before we started going live here. I'm trying to convince him to come to my other locations, but he does service the ones in Florida. And when I saw someone, I think it was someone tweeted about you or whatever, I saw it, I was like, bingo, like this is what we need. Because even for those properties in particular, they're in Florida. And we have a neighbor who just complains about like anything that they can like possibly complain about. We have directions to our guests. The trash day is 2 days a week there to take the trash, make sure that, the lid's on, bring it out to the curb, take it back. Like that's, you would think that they would do that, and you think that that was an easy process and that automated messages could solve that issue, but it's just not the reality. Maybe, I don't know, I would say like maybe half to like 60% of guests can actually follow, the written directions about trash day. So our neighbors complained about anything that they could complain about with our property. And one of those things, and we have 2 houses, and it was just one of the houses, frankly, where we were getting complaints, was the whole trash situation. And every time there was like an issue with trash where, our cans were messed up, maybe at the curb, the wrong things were in the wrong trash can, or maybe it wasn't put back in the right place because it technically needs to be like hidden from the street. So if it wasn't hidden, they would complain about that anytime. And the city would come by after they probably called them 1,000 times and would, give us a pink sheet for our trash, like non-compliance issue. So that being said, you solved that. I think since we found your service, pay you the $50 a month, have not had to deal with that particular headache. I don't even even looked at the app, honestly, but good to know that I could actually check if I needed to. But yeah, we've been in compliance, at least for trash. We don't have to get into other things later, but so thank you. Thank you for relieving a stress there. And I want you to help relieve that stress in other places as well. So for any of you guys listening, with properties where I have properties, let's all make sure to hound Alex later and tell him to get his runners running up to our cans. So thank you, Alex. So it's a long-winded way to say thank you.
Well, thank you, man. It wouldn't be possible without, support from our clients like yourself. And what we found is exactly what you said. So it's dead on. I mean, everyone has a system or solution. And what we found, it's 50 to 75% at best. If it's your cleaners, if it's your guests, if it's your maintenance guy, one way or another, you can get the can to the curb. Then who's going back the next day? But then now say you have trash twice a week and recycling. We could be at your property sometimes 4 days a week. That's 16 times a month. They have to schedule and coordinate with someone on your team or a cleaner or a guest if they're on there on the right day to make sure to get the can back and forth. And you're really just crossing fingers, and really it's like no news is good news. You're just hoping you don't get a call from the client or the guest or the neighbor or whatever it is that there's an issue. And what we're finding out now, and you made another good point, is that these neighbors next to these Airbnbs, they're not happy that they're next to an Airbnb, right? They're not happy that there's
some actually are happy. I think that's a mischaracterization that all neighbors aren't happy. We have neighbors who actually kind of like it. Like honestly, I'd say we have as many who uniquely like it as those who uniquely don't like it.
I would agree with you. And for the most part, I would say, maybe I'm being a little bit more generalized. I wouldn't say everyone. We do find that there are more vocal people who don't like the Airbnb next door.
They're more animated. They're the ones yelling.
More animated, right. Is it everyone? I'm sure not. I mean, I've seen some really nice Airbnbs that look beautiful, and I would love for that, place to be next to my, house. Oh, that's your neighbor's house? Looks great. Yeah. So sometimes for the most part, these Airbnbs look great from the curbside. So why wouldn't you want that in your neighborhood? But back, say we're talking about these neighbors that are mad. What we found is that the number one thing that they can complain about is the trash cans, right? It's right there at the curb. They know that there's rules or regulations in place. So what we did,
and I think that's the key point, that there are rules and regulations about trash. And that is like a citywide thing in almost every place where you do get fined if you're not following trash ordinances.
And that was something that we didn't know starting CanMonkey. We didn't get into CanMonkey to say, no, we're going to go out there and save the vacation rental industry from trash ordinances and rules, and different fines from their HOA. That wasn't a thought process. It was after us doing this, we realized that this is what was happening, that this is where else we can help our clients with staying in compliance with the regulations, staying in compliance with different rules that are going on in their city. And for the most part, some of these issues are regarding trash. And so that's where we come in play. And so now we've gotten about 24 of our clients out of erroneous fines, where they got a fine because the can was at the curb when it shouldn't have been, or wherever it was, because the neighbor called. And what we were able to do was go onto their client dashboard, take the photo, timestamp of when we were there, and say, hey, actually, here's your can at the curb, or here's your can back at a certain time. It doesn't look like you were breaking any rules. See if you can send this to your HOA and get out of that. And as of right now, knock on wood, we've been able to reverse all those charges because we have those photos. It comes down to like a civil suit. So if your neighbor's calling and complaining and you have a little bit more evidence, you're able to show it and get out of that charge. So it's something that now it wasn't built for that, but we have this application in the background that we built for ourselves, make sure our can runners are doing a good job. We have all this data on our end, and we're like, hey, why can't we share this with our clients? And so now we open it up to where there's a client dashboard for our clients, to where now you can log in and see all of the data saved for if you ever do need it. And hopefully you never do need it. You never have to look at it. But maybe there's one time that you have to get a call, or you get a call and you want to look into it. It's there now.
Yeah, and I think that's awesome. I haven't had that specific situation happen yet, just because we haven't had issues, frankly. Or Christmas Christmas everywhere, no matter what. There's just way too much trash, and there's only physically so many cans. So yeah, I guess I'm curious. This is more of a personal question. Like, what do you tell your guys to do if there's like so much trash next to the trash?
Absolutely, yeah. We take photos of every single service stop. So when we're at a property and say we're taking the cans to the curb and there's trash on the ground, we take a photo that says it's called excess trash. You get real-time notifications. And a real-time notification, whether it's an SMS or an email, whatever you signed up with your account, will go to you from the can runner saying can at the curb, excess trash. And now we're even implementing it to where we're going to send you almost like a questionnaire, almost like one for us to remove for you, two, you got it. So now it's almost, we're getting confirmation from our clients that you acknowledge that you've seen the excess trash. So we have been sending the excess trash notes and real-time notifications to some of the emails, and sometimes they don't check their emails to the next day. So now we're going.
What happens if there's excess trash? Is it like, hey, we'll deal with it for X amount of money? Or is it, you should probably call somebody? I guess, what's the solution to or it's like, sometimes it's like people put the wrong things in the wrong cans. I'm sure you probably know better than me. So that's something that's happens. Like how do these situations get remedied?
Yeah, so we are a can to curb service, but we're also a vacation rental trash solutions. We are a plural, right? So we, as much as our bread and butter is the can to curb, we also have a on-demand trash removal service that we offer to our clients if they need excess trash removal. Especially right now with the holidays. There's an example I have right now where we got a call from a client recently that said, hey, you guys missed trash day this week. We go into their account. We saw we brought the cans back on Tuesday, emptied. They're calling now on Thursday. The cans are full. We said, hey, did your guests leave yesterday or today? Or you're like, oh yeah, they left yesterday. The cleaners just came today and they're saying the cans are full. We're like, oh, well, they're full because they just cleaned and they must be from the guests that just left. Like, oh, what do we do? We have new guests coming in and we just missed trash day. We said, hey, we can send our on-demand trash removal team out there to remove all the trash for you at an extra charge. So we scheduled for them, and now our clients don't have to worry about anything. So what we think about is being a stakeholder in our client's business, and all we want to do is handle the trash. We want to give you solutions. There's times we'll say, hey, we can remove this for you at this cost. And you might say, know what? I got my maintenance guy stopping by that property, and he's just going to remove it for free. Don't worry about it. Or know what? Hey, thank you. I'm like an hour away from that property. Yeah, can you help me with that? I really appreciate it. So we give our clients the option. If there is excess trash on the ground, we let them know. Sometimes they say just put the trash back in the bags or back in the cans, and we'll deal with it later. Some say just remove that, when you can, as soon as possible. Like I said, we're really good instruction takers. So our job is to let you guys know, or let our clients know, if we see anything on the side of the house or in regards to the trash and recycling cans. And then you guys let us know how you would like us to dispose of that. If you guys want us to dispose of it, if you guys are going to handle it. Some people are very P&L conscious, and some people are just, they'll tell us after every departure to remove all the trash. So we really just kind of figure out what our clients want and then move accordingly.
Guys, you are in for, who thought that today we'd be talking about trash, But guys, what I'm trying to say is that's figuring out all the logistics that go into one of these operations is crucial, whether it be guest communication, whether it be having your vendors, your pool guy, your landscapers all set up and automated. So it's not a guessing game which day pool day is, or which day the lawn's going to get mowed. And, the guest is going to be completely caught off guard when your landscapers come at 6 p.m. on a Friday night. So you got to have your ducks in the row. And to be completely frank, I will honestly say that biggest or most annoying duck for us is the trash. That is the one thing. I mean, so we have properties in places where Alex is not. Western North Carolina, for example, there is not even Alex takes the can to the curb. There is no curb there. The curb would be, get flushed out by any rainstorm coming in because it's a mountain. It's the side of a cliff pretty much. So we have a service who comes up and they'll drive their truck up the road. They'll pick up like 2 cans and throw it in their truck. But they don't, if there's more than 2, there's 20 cans there, or 20 bags, like extra bags. They're not telling us that. Our cleaners have to be the ones who tell us that. But what if our cleaners aren't there? Then the guests have to be the one to tell us that. So, I mean, for those properties, we've installed cameras. We have literally installed cameras directly to face the trash because of how big of a pain in the butt that is. So that being said, where are you, Alex? Like, where are you located? What cities, what states?
We're in 18 states, 85 cities currently, and we are growing. And we try to stay in urban areas that we're able to get a route going with 15, 20 properties. There are markets that we're in that are not very urban. I mean, we're in some like Park City, Sedona. We're not in Smoky Mountains yet, but we have some interest in some of these areas that are not so much. And
so you're telling me if I can get, not to cut you off, but if I can get how many properties in one of the cities I'm in to get on board, will you come out to me?
We need anywhere from 15 to 25 properties, depending on how close they are in about 10 to 15 mile radius. But if you're able, and it doesn't have to be all from you, we've gotten into markets where we met with a property management company that has 10, and then another company that had 15, and we got there together, and that's 25, and we were able to start with those together.
Because I've got one location. So the lake that I'm at, I just don't think logistically, because there isn't a service to come to the road to get it. So that wouldn't really work out there. But I am in a more urban environment in North Carolina where either myself or my mentees in that city, we have, I think like eight or 9 properties. So I think we would get you almost most of the way there.
Yeah, 1,000%. And this is where also, like I said, we're vacation rental trash solutions. So there's some markets where, like you said, that are a little bit different. They don't have trash to curb, or we'll just partner with a local vendor who will go and remove all the trash at your properties. And what we do is we take all the volume and all of our markets, negotiate some kind of price where I don't want to lose money on any deal. But now if I know I can get in with 8 properties from Jeremy and his crew, I know that I have some other people in that area. I can get another 10, 15 properties. In 3 months, I can have 25 properties. And now if I'm doing this deal, I can. So we have our own algorithm in the back end that we can run numbers on, that I'm never looking at it just from your portfolio, but I'm looking at from who else I know in the market. So that's the thing. Like, there's some markets where I'm not in yet right now, but I could be in because I have 4 separate, clients that need us. But at the same time, like, it doesn't make sense. But if I got one more person in the middle, I can connect all 3. And so it's kind of like a game. But once you get that route going, then I can add on onesie twosies from there.
And how do you, so let's say you have the demand, let's call it 3 different people have 15 properties combined. They've all committed to working with you.
Yep.
Let's just say it's a service where the city comes and gets it, but you've got to bring it to the curb.
Yep.
How do you, I'm curious, this is kind of more from like a startup than a STR app. Like, how do you convince, or how do you get people then to go do that for you, to get the trash to the curb?
That was one of the biggest hurdles we thought that we were going to go into starting this company. When you're starting off CanMonkey and you have 10, 15 properties and you're doing those 10, 15 properties yourself, it's easy to know the job's getting done because you're doing it yourself, right?
Sure.
And it gets to a point that now you got to
outsource. Did you start doing that yourself? Were you the day one monkey?
Yeah, so actually my business partner he was the first, we did the first 100 ourselves between me and him, first 100 properties here in Scottsdale.
And that would be 100 times $50 a month. So like the first 5,000 in revenue.
And I think at the time we were charging $35 a month at the time. So
3,500.
I think we're bringing in like $3,000 a month. Yeah. For 100 so it's like, in our thought process, it wasn't scaling this across the country. It was like, look, if we can get 1,000 properties in Arizona, that'd be awesome. Like that was like, if we just got, that was our thought process. And it was like, look, I can have my brother do it. I can have a family member do it. We can just outsource this. So when you start thinking
$35,000 a month, have 3 or 4 people doing it.
Right. Like that's what the thought process was, a very small, like linear.
Well,
Small business. Then you start scaling. Now you go into another markets, like you go to Park City. We can't pay someone a little bit of money in Park. So you start like figuring out what you have to do. But what we always thought was going to be a hard thing is getting these can runners. But what we found out is, as much as I'm talking about the short-term rental industry with you right now, and those are the clients that pay us for our services, my other clients are my can runners. They're my number one client. Without my can runners, I wouldn't be able to do you would be talking about my service really great right now if I didn't have really good can runners, right? So what we found out is that there's this whole other industry called the gig economy. The gig economy, which is Uber Eats, Grubhub, Instacart, all that. That's already there. That's already a whole industry. I didn't know that. Even a couple of years ago, I didn't know that. I just stumbled into this, right? So I was like, how am I going to find people who are going to want to work 1 to 2, 3 hours a day, doing an odd job? And it's like the gig economy. And it's like, oh, wait, what? That's so crazy. Yeah, you're right.
People do that. They have another one job and they want to fill in the gaps over here.
Yes. So I'm a big believer in like not recreating the wheel, copy from all, steal from none. So it's like, okay, how can I figure out what other companies are doing? Like, to me, the thought process of Uber is like mind boggling. Like, how the hell, like CanMonkey is a little bit more easy, right? I mean, like take the can to the curb, like Uber. It's like, if they can create Uber, I can create this. So then you get to a point like, okay, I got to find someone in this market that doesn't mind working this many hours, doing this job. In the beginning, you're just like reaching out to people. I was calling people. I'm like, hey, you want to take some trash cans to the curb and I'll pay you $20 an hour. They're like, okay. And my thought process, okay, I'm going to have you try to do at least 10 stops in an hour. And then you do 10 stops an hour, I'll pay you $20 an hour. And now I got to make that work, within the money I'm making. So like, that was a thought process. Like, how do I get them to do like 20 stops an hour? Now I'm paying them $1 a stop. Like, I was trying to get my routes really tight to where they can do 20 stops. So that was a thought process in the beginning.
Is really the math and like, what is the calculus here? And then you probably learn that, yeah, if you have like properties that are so far away, it doesn't really make sense. But if you can cluster them in like a specific area, then it becomes like especially, lucrative.
Yes, and the better the routes are, the closer they are, the better the can runners like them. If you have one property that's like 5-8 miles away from all the other ones, the can runners are going to say, screw that property, I'm not going to do it. So you got to pay them a little bit more for that one and off one. So you start learning those little idiosyncrasies. But what we have found is that like finding can runners, finding individuals that want to make some extra income is not hard.
Especially, it's really just paying them, we'll just call it, I don't know, $20 an hour, but also like, the minimum. These are hours that work for them.
And this is the other thing. So in the gig economy, Uber Eats, Grubhub, Instacart, they all kind of have peak hours, right? There's rush hour in the morning, there's rush hour in the evening. But with CanMonkey, what we do is we fill that dead time in the afternoon.
That's what I was thinking. Yep, exactly. Because like you don't have to bring, there's not like the strictest timeline of when you have to bring the can to the curb. I mean, you can bring it at 2 a.m. I mean, you probably don't want to, have.
We don't like that, but like, yeah, you're right. There's a certain time frame.
There's nothing like illegal about.
No,
you just need it there by 6 a.m. and you don't want to have it out 2 days prior.
Yes, are some like different like HOA rules and timelines that go in place in some like cities that we have to follow by. But at the same time, you're right. It's like a time frame, right? And we give them the consistency and persistency of the same route. So now I know about giving Jeremy the same route that he's been doing the last 3 weeks. And he's getting really good at it. And when you accept the route, it's going to say, Jeremy, this has 18 stops. It should take you 1 hour and 12 minutes. You're going to drive 3.2 miles and you'll get paid $29.55. Do you agree? And you're going to say, yeah, I'll get paid $30, for an hour and, whatever. So you accept it. So if you do that now and you do it really quickly and you get done within 45 minutes, you're still getting paid for 1 hour and 10 minutes.
And so incentivized to be efficient.
Yes. And then
Called
now
capitalism, baby. That's
yes.
how we get people to work hard.
Yes. And then now we give you like extra money. Like, hey, if you take a photo of any excess trash that you see on the ground, you get an extra $1. So now I incentivize them to take pictures of trash on the ground. That if there is trash on the ground, now they'll give that to my client and get money for that. So
that's lead generation for the excess trash removal service.
Yes. And so now I'm getting extra data from my end and incentivizing them to take photos. But now if the client actually wants to take that photo and do something with it, I'm making more money on the back end. But also I'm doing a job of making sure I'm finding out by also incentivizing. So you might say, hey, you're going to make, $28 in an hour and 10 minutes, but they could also leave that route with make an extra $5 because they took some pictures. Maybe they did an extra stop that was a little bit further away. That was a bonus stop and made an extra $2. It was their third route for the week, so they make an extra $5. So now they just made $35 in 1 hour, and they get paid 3 days a week.
And then they go back. Uber surge timing hits again. Would you say a lot of your drivers are also Uber drivers?
I would agree. I would say a lot of them. I don't have the actual data, but I would say a lot of them are coming from that gig economy. And what's cool now is 3 years ago, now I have an app that's proprietary to CanMonkey. It's on the Apple Store. It's on Google Play. If you go on your phone right now and type in, you'll see it. You can download it and become a can runner. So 3 years ago, I had Craigslist ads out there, I had Facebook ads. So I'm calling people, hey, you want to take trash cans to the curb? They're like, what are you talking about? What the hell is this shit? No, I'm not doing that.
They're like, I've got an app now. And they're like, an app. Holy crap.
I'm being real. You're going to pay me $20. No, hang up. And then now they find us from looking at Uber Eats or Grubhub, and then they go on the app and they find us on the app now. So now we look even more legitimate because now we're on the Apple Store. So now it's what was hard is a lot easier now. And I think the ratio is 6 to 1. We get 6 applications for every one can runner we actually need. So finding can runners, we have a plethora.
That's not the pain point.
No, the pain point would be finding the right can runner, finding someone finding someone that in that neighborhood that has 5 routes that ends their day and starts their day right there. Finding someone that is consistent, finding someone that's persistent, finding someone that takes good photos, finding someone that cares a little bit. So but then once you find that, I've had some can runners been with us for 2 years that run the same routes. We're all creatures of habit, right? And we all want to know what we're going to be making. And we're going from this world of I need to make $60,000 to $75,000 a year to how do I make $300 to $400 a day? And if CanMonkey can help you make $75 to $120 a day, and you can also add some other gigs in there to make an extra $200 to $300, there's your money right there. And we're just a little bit more persistent, consistent, that you just know what you're making with us 3 days a week. You can fit it in your schedule, whether on your way home, whether on the way to the office, whatever it is. And I think that's what they really like about us.
Reliable. You guys are, you're trusted. And I think it's funny. So on this podcast, talk about a lot of times short-term rentals, how to be a short-term rental pro. I am personally interested in startups. My background, I actually, prior to short-term rentals, came from a startup where COVID hit and we were having a little bit of trouble fundraising. And I was like, you know what? I don't want to ever have to fundraise again. I was I want to do a cash flow business that makes it so I just don't need a job. Don't have to, but also I know that it's consistent. It's coming in. And that's what I liked about having my own business and short-term rentals. So I'm curious for you, initially, it seems like that was kind of the idea for you is I want to have a small cash flow business, but then it was hey, there's actually opportunity here to really ramp. What was the point where it was damn, there's opportunity to ramp this up? And then I guess, what do you see moving forward for CanMonkey?
When I got into CanMonkey, like I said, my business partner had started it originally. I was working W-2 with Fortune 500 companies. I was a corporate guy all the way in. So when I invested in CanMonkey, it was really here's a couple $1,000. Let's keep the lights on for a couple more months. And, I'll do the marketing and sales. You make sure the routes keep going on. But my main thing is I'm growing this business over here. So that was all of 2019. I was W-2. And why I even invested in CanMonkey was in March of 2018. I was on a bachelor trip, and we were going to Tahoe, and the guy next to me on the plane was watching the show Billions, and with Axelrod, and I was like, "What are you watching?" He goes, "This show Billionaire, Billions, about this billionaire." And I was like, that was the first time I had heard about it, and I started watching it, and I was like, "That's really cool. You can like manipulate these businesses." CanMonkey was like my first opportunity that I thought could be like a Bobby Axelrod and like manipulate a business a little bit. So that was like why I invested. I'm like, oh, I can manipulate this. I have sales and marketing. I know clients that I'm dealing with in real estate.
You started like playing that music, that theme song in your head.
1,000%. So that was like the thought process in the beginning. Like, hey, I can manipulate this business a little bit. I have clients that I'm already working with on title and escrow. I can sell them this CanMonkey business on the side. I don't need the income right now because I'm making income from W-2. Like, let's just, it's just a side hustle. And then that was all 2019. 2020, I'm still doing W-2, and the world shuts down. And it was like middle of May, and I lost my job. And I was like, whatever, not whatever, but I was like, okay, screw this. Like, I'm gonna go find another job in title and escrow. But then I kind of had like this like moment of like, CanMonkey was, and I was in this moment of like, before I even lost my job, the world was shut down, and I was focusing a lot on CanMonkey because like it was kind of creating some momentum because the world was shut down in all of April, but Airbnbs were picking up still. Like people were still traveling, people were still like doing things on like the low, especially here in Arizona. And that's where we were, only in Arizona at the time. So I was in May when I lost my job, I was just kind of contemplating, like, look, I can go into another title company and put as much effort as I can during this uncertainty of this pandemic and grow another company, or I have enough money saved for the rest of the year to see, like, what can I do with CanMonkey?
I'm gonna take a shot here.
But I'll take a shot. Worst case scenario, I can, get an extra $2,000 a month from passive income from CanMonkey. Maybe I grow it to like 1,000 clients in 6 months. That was my thought. Like maybe I can get enough money that if I need to get a job in January 2021, I'm making some money now. And that even was still a thought process, but it wasn't until I went full in 2020 when we were like, we can expand into another market. Like, why can't, if we're doing it here and I'm not doing the routes anymore, why can't we do this in Park City? And that was like the first thought process of like, let's try to expand this with no technology, with nothing. But we're like, hey, let's just try it. And so we reached out to a counterpart that was using us in this market and said, hey, if you guys like us in this market, try us in this market. And they said, okay, here's 100 properties. So it took us like 2 years to get to 100 properties in Arizona. It took us one phone call in a new market. And then we're like, okay, we got to scale. And so that was 2021. And then just kept, grinding.
And what I love about that and about your story, and, I'm thinking about like relating it to my story, but also just the story of like so many people in the actual, the short-term rental space, is you were like, your back was against the wall. You were literally laid off from your job. And initially, you're thinking of this as just additional cash flow. But like once you actually gave it your all, you were able to scale it. Like once you actually just went all in and said, it seems like you didn't even have like you didn't even know like what you were capable of. But once you gave something your all, you woke up and it was like the sole focus of your life, you exceeded expectations. And first of all, just bravo for that. I'd say I quit my job in my like day job in May of 2020, I think. And like, if I look back at like my growth of my short-term rentals, it was like, it was going up, it hit there. And then it just shot up like crazy. Like just once you give something your all, and that's like, you're determined and I'm going to make something out of this. And, maybe a little bit of, I don't know, for you, maybe a little bit of, screw like, that message I got getting fired from my boss, like I'm going to, that left a sour taste, or, getting salary reduced or whatever it may have been. But like getting that sour taste in your mouth just gave you fuel to create something really meaningful. No, and
it sounds like so cliche. I don't know if that's the right word, but it's like, it's silly, right? Like you gotta go all in and then it works out. But literally that's what everyone says. You know, you hear these stories of everyone that's not, and I'm not saying I'm successful, but you hear these stories of everyone that's successful of what they're doing. And, you know, it's all around the same story of like back against the wall. You had no other options.
Mm-hmm. Hey, it's a real thing. It's a real thing. I think the saying is like I forget the battle. Actually, my mentor John used this expression, and I love it. And I need to like get it down pat. But essentially, there was like an army fighting another army, and they had crossed over on ships, and they were really outnumbered and screwed. And the captain or the general told his infantrymen to fire upon their own ships and burn them, and to burn their own ships, because once their ships were burned, they had no choice. They had to succeed in the fight.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't hear that story, but I've heard the burn the ship, theory, and it's exactly true.
I guess it's probably a much more cohesive way of saying that story. But
well, I like your story. What I've heard about burning the ship is like, you found this island and you're on the ship and you want to, it's like burn the ship and swim to the island, and then you have no way you can't go back. There's no plan B.
you gotta make it to land.
And that's your thought. It's the same thing. You have no plan B. There's no other what ifs, and that's where like I look at the pandemic now as like a blessing. It's like, would I've ever quit my job before? No, I was comfortable. I was getting W-2 money. I was making great money. Like I would never have quit. If I never went full time, would CanMonkey be where it's at now? Probably not. I'm just the differentiator. Like I had to make it work. I have 4 kids now. I'm married. I did all this during the pandemic. Like I had to provide. I had to figure out a way. I also told my business partner I was going to help him out. So like I really had no other choice. So back against the wall is completely true. But I also, my mindset, there's nothing in my life that I've done that I've failed at. And that's more of like how you look at things. I've succeeded in everything I've actually wanted to do. There's things I haven't done, so maybe I didn't necessarily fail, but it's also how you look at it, right? Like, is it failure or is it lesson learned? So if you look at it like that, if you've ever done everything in your life that you've always succeeded, then why not try something else? And that's where I was just like a delusionally optimistic person, that it's like, I'm going to make this work. And I found enough of a niche for it in this aspect. And all I needed was a little bit of people to gas me up a little bit to like, say, okay,
always need people to gas you up.
That's it. So once I it confirmed my thought process, I'm like, hey, we're going to expand to another market. And my business partner would be like, we can't expand. And then once someone's like, okay, you can do it. Like, fuck yeah. See, I told you, like, can't hold me back. Let's go. Even though we're on the same team. And, definition of an entrepreneurship is jumping off the cliff and building the plane while you're falling. And my business partner and I, like, I'm that guy jumping off the ship, jumping off the cliff, building the airplane while I'm falling, and we're attached, and he's still up there, like, whoa, wait, like, I gotta find this bolt. And I'm like, fuck the bolt, like, we're going. And so
we'll flap our wings. Let's come on.
We'll figure it out. So you need both those people. You need the person that's going to dot the I's, cross the T's, and you also need that person that is just going to run through the wall and figure it out later. Because you can always sit back and be like, well, what if this doesn't work? And you can poke holes in it all day long and probably be right. But then it's like, but what if it does? And that's where I always come in with but what if it does? And I will make it right, because if it doesn't work the way I wanted it to, I'll pivot, and then I'll pivot, and then I'll pivot, and then something's going to stick. And then, because that's my only option. It has to. So.
And I love to just kind of, again, putting that like startup hat on, is I always hear, if anyone's talking about their company, they're like, oh, we're the Uber for nail salons, like we're the Uber for jumping off of air. Like, it's just, there's an Uber for like everything. Right. And it's always like, frankly, 99.9% of the time, they never actually create any like gig economy thing that's a two-sided marketplace that actually succeeds at anything. You actually have created a two-sided marketplace. You are literally the Uber for, can to curb, and specifically, and I actually have a question. Is the idea to like start with vacation markets? But like, let's say I own a home somewhere and I'm lazy as crap. Like, I don't even want to get off my couch. Yeah. People are just getting, America is getting older and older. But also people are, frankly, in a way, and we can talk about this another time, and maybe getting lazier and lazier. So do people who aren't vacation rental hosts employ your services?
Yes, we are going in through the age of do it for me age, and that's kind of like why
Hey,
we
it's
fit
cold
in.
outside. It's cold
It
outside.
is, but that's why we fit in perfectly with this. And so, like, I talk about short-term rentals. I go after 100% short-term rentals because we're a bootstrap company, and I work harder, not smarter. And it's easy for me to reach after one Jeremy with 25 listings, and it is for me to reach out to 25 people and maybe get one. So it's,
One
from
house,
that aspect, it's always been like that thought process. But how our portfolio is now, it's 80-20. It's 80% short-term rentals, 20% homeowners.
And are you seeing that homeowner segment like increase? And
Yeah, so
are there other companies who do this for the homeowner in the world, or?
No, I mean, we are the first can to curb service provider. So look, our biggest competitor is Johnny Next Door, and there's companies, the neighbor.
That's the name of a company, or it's a guy named John Next Door.
I'm talking about like the neighbor kid next door.
I was like, that's a sick name for a business, low key.
Oh, sure. I need to get an LLC for that. Yeah. No, the Johnny Next Door. It's like the neighbor next door. It's the nice guy next door. It's the
just
neighbor
takes your can out to the curb for you.
Yeah, which is our biggest competitor, right? Like, I can't beat him, but especially if you're paying him $10 a week. But then it's like, oh, you're paying someone $40 a week, but you won't pay someone a real company $49 that's also giving you photos. And what if Johnny goes on vacation? What if Johnny gets sick? What if Johnny has to go visit his mom? What if Johnny goes on so there's all these different scenarios that with CanMonkey there is no Johnny goes on vacation. If Johnny goes on vacation, we have another Johnny, and so that's our biggest competitor. But it's funny that you're saying that because for 4 years I put my head in the ground about this platform that we built. And it wasn't until recently that I realized that I even have a logistical technology company.
You got Amazon, man. You've got the Amazon for last mile delivery instead of.
I just didn't realize, we didn't realize it. Just wasn't one of those things that we were like saying that about ourselves. It's just something like, what? Here's a service that we provided manually. We realized that there's no technology built for us and what we needed. So we needed to build our own technology for us. So this was all built for our own needs. And then I was like, whoa. Why don't we open this up for our clients? And now it's turning into like, shit, we're a platform.
Yeah, like, well, think about it too. I mean, so it makes sense that, you started with, and I always forget the name, the word, but it's like the tip of the needle or something. Like the tip of the needle for you was vacation rentals. But like once you get the needle in, you can, do more. So now just normal properties. But
sorry. So to your point, So right now we go after 100% short-term rentals. 20% though is homeowners. But I believe in 5-10 years it'll be 80% homeowners, 20% short-term rentals. Because in the long grand scheme of things, homeowners, there's like 82 million single-family housing in the country. So it's like out of 82 million properties that we could go technically service. So like we could go service those homes. We don't service apartments or condos.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of get those out, but even the Airbnbs and short-term rentals, I think there's like a million listings, and out of a million listings or like homes for like a home, or say 2 million listings. I think a million we just say we couldn't do anyways, and out of the other 500,000, or out of the other million, say 500,000 we couldn't do. So we say maybe 500,000 of properties that we think we could really go get in the short-term rental space, which is huge, right?
That's a big TAM. Yeah,
it's big. But then again, the long run would be the elderlies, the disabled, the HOAs, the home builders. It's like this whole other realm of things. But when you're a bootstrap company and you're one sales guy, you're very limited on the teams that you have.
Yeah. Not to cut you off, but there's like an increasing, my idea. I mean, I love this. This is so interesting to me, this conversation, and also just like, kind of small bootstrapped businesses. And, I'm gonna get into later, like, I'm curious about your whole fundraising situation, if you've gone that route or not, but like, there's so many like designer communities now, like America's becoming a renter's nation. That's just a fact. There's a lot of these big institutions who are creating these like suburbs of rental properties, whereas 50 years ago they would probably build a suburb of like houses to buy. Now they build a suburbs of rentals. So but they want to offer their renters like amenities. That's it's really important to them to to attract people. And I'm curious if one of those amenities is just put the trash like next to the front, whatever. Just you can just reach your arm out, drop the trash, and don't worry about it. Someone else is going to take care of it.
It's a touch-free, smart-free. Yeah. That's what so we had some conversations with new home build companies where they're going to present their new subdivision.
Exactly. Yep. That's what I would think. Like that would be like something that they could advertise to their.
Yeah, and they are, and they add it into the HOA right away, right? So like now you add in your HOA that you never have to touch trash cans and never take it to the curb and back. It sounds like it's futuristic, and so that's what they're providing in these, expensive subdivisions. So you buy a home for $1 million, and then now you never have to take your trash cans to curb and back. Are you kidding me? You have a trash butler, like that's what they're selling it. You'd think that it was hundreds of dollars a month, but it's really like a platform that we already have for $49, and so, and then now it gets to a point now that a company like that will say, all right, CanMonkey, we want to leverage your technology, your workforce, everything you have. But instead of $49 a month, we want you to charge us $25, but we're going to bill our homeowners $50. So now they're giving us 1,000 properties. They're making $25 a property. They're making $25,000 a month. Now they turn it into a profit center. Wow. And then we get every single property in that neighborhood all condensed, and we don't care if they use it or not, because no matter what, we're already getting paid. And that's how they use it in the valet trash within the apartments and condos. So like I said earlier, we copy from all, steal for none. And what some people are doing in the other industries, like apartments and complexes, with the valet trash, we would do in the single family housing aspect.
Yeah, I think that's an incredible opportunity. So, okay. So fundraising, have you raised money at this point, maybe to build the app, or have you just completely bootstrapped?
Yeah, it's been completely bootstrapped.
Wow,
we for 5 years in this business, first 4 years, I never took a salary, my business partner and I. And a lot of all that money went back right into the application. And having a monthly recurring revenue business has been great, because you get to make some money and get to see how much you're making, and you run your P&L. But all the money that we were making went right back into the technology, which we knew that we would need to have if we wanted to scale the business the way we've scaled it. We wouldn't be able to do what we're doing right now, onboarding hundreds of properties a week through Excel files and obviously you had something with Excel. You had to get to a point where you build out the systems and processes in a way that you can now replicate it in a way where it's getting easier and easier.
And you can see when like you said, when you're an MRR business, you can kind of see what is our churn. What can we expect? Actually, I'm so curious about so many damn things here. I guess what is, just quick question, like, I guess, and this would probably be like an overall macro of the short-term rental market as like a whole, but like, what have you seen? So churn is like when you lose a customer, which I'm assuming for the most part is probably when they just stop doing Airbnb, but like, what have you seen with churn over the last 4 years?
On the homeowner side, it's like less than 1%. It's we found on the homeowners, and that's why like back then, like on the long-term rentals, like the long-term side, we want the homeowners, because once you go and have someone else take the trash cans for yourself, you never go back and to do it yourself.
Yeah,
we've had a client.
You get a little complacent or comfortable.
You get complacent. I mean, we've had clients. We've had a client pass away, and we've had them, obviously cancel service. But besides that, we haven't had any homeowners, even the ones that sold their houses, the people who bought the house ended up keeping our service because the homeowners told them about our service. So, and then on the other side, on the vacation rental side, it's hard to say what our churn rate really is, because to your point, sometimes they cancel and maybe the management company loses it. But what we found is that property comes back on with another management company, that we get the property back on. So like we lost it, but we gained it back. Or we lost it because the vacation rental company doesn't own or manage it anymore, but then the owner uses our service. But on the vacation rental side, it's a little bit more high, especially this past year when a lot of our properties were in the Phoenix area. We onboarded a lot of properties from the Super Bowl, and a lot of properties had ended off. So like if you look at our churn rate on that aspect, it's a little bit higher than like the homeowner side, but also at the same time, it's like hard to actually justify because there are properties that came back on. And that happens.
So it's hard to really, so your reactivation, I think that's what that's called, is like when something comes back. Yeah. It's like too early to like really tell what the reactivation rate is.
Yes. Or on if you look at like the churn rate through our Stripe platform that we use for our billing, Jeremy might have 15 properties on with me, and then we cancel them and then put them on all in one invoice. But then now our churn rate looks like we just lost 15 properties, but then really we just added it on. So from our end, we don't really just have that data because we haven't really needed it. Now, if we're looking to raise funds and we're talking to potential VCs,
they're going to be like, what is your churn? What is your churn? Yeah.
Right. And so for us, a lot of running a business, we've always ran the business like a business, and we're smart in what we're doing,
Totally.
But there's certain things that like my churn rate, I don't know, right? Like, I guess I could really figure it out and come down to it, but at the end of the day, like, it's just not something that I lose sleep over at night. Like, I know that, like,
Yeah.
but then again, if I'm talking to a right person, they're going to not like that answer.
Yeah. And I love your way of thinking about things because like, if you were going to go out and pitch this idea 5 years ago, or maybe, in the last few years, and you would have initially like told some like Silicon Valley, like venture capitalist and frankly said like, oh, we're taking your trash to the curb, they would have like rolled their eyes and like, whatever, giving you a condescending look, just by saying that. But if you would have said, oh, we are a last mile logistics service, and we are starting with if you played that like BS game of like, just like, or we're the Uber for XYZ, know, but like you haven't had to care about any of that. You've literally just been purely focused on like, how do we get customers? What do they want? What do they care about? What are the troubles they're facing? How do we get people to service the customers? What do they care about? What are the issues that they're facing? How do we combine the two and make some money? That's what you've been laser focused on instead of playing the whole like VC fundraise, like kind of paint a picture.
No, and you're right. And I feel like that's like what I'm learning. I feel like I forget the movie, but it was with Brandon Fraser where he like was like in a bomb shelter for like 50 years, and it was like a Disney movie like a long time ago. But I feel like that's how I've been. I feel like I've been in like a bomb shelter for 20 years. I don't really know what I built. I come out of this bomb shelter and everyone's like, you know what you built? And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, dude,
it's because you've been building and you haven't been like thinking about, you've just been.
And I've just been like minding my own business. And like, I've had people like tell me like stuff like what you're saying earlier on, where they're like, like, let me know when you get to 500 properties. Let me know when you get to 1,000. You'll never get 2,000. Like, you'll never scale. So I've had people like along the way say things where I'm kind of like, oh, fuck you. Like, just watch, It's like I had these like chips on my shoulder, and I've known like benchmarks of what I've needed to hit. If like, not that I've ever talked to a VC, but like just what like certain, like sometimes people will come to me and like they'll reach out throughout the years, like, and they've been VCs and like, oh, like you need to hit this to be this. I'm like, cool, I never asked you, but thank you. Like, I had some idea of what we needed. I definitely know what we're sitting on now. And I've talked to some, individuals. They've approached me at different conferences and we've sat down with them and I tell them what our numbers are candidly, and I'm transparent. And like, oh, wow, when you guys get the 5 million ARR, you guys will be this big, and cool. Like, and they're really shocked at where we're at now. And like, if I say,
you guys are at 5,000 properties currently?
Yeah, we just finished the year. Just going into this year now. So we're trying to finish this year doubling. We're trying to finish this year at 10,000 properties, 9,160
in 2024.
Yes. So,
and what were you start of 2023?
2,300.
23. So you doubled. So you're trying to double.
Yeah, we've been doubling almost every year. Yeah, and this year of doubling has actually been even better than doubling, because this is the year that we essentially went from our old application, which was all like third-party apps off the App Store, Excel files, Slack applications, and converted all of that onto our own application. So this year was really like a growth year of inputting our own technology and putting everything into place and still growing, which – when I really think about it, like, I pinch myself every day. It's like, what the fuck? Like, I don't know how we do it. I know how we're doing because we're grinding every day. But to really, like, I look back on the whole year and say, like, this is how we started. This is where we ended. It's crazy to me. And we're just getting started. I mean, we're having partnerships now in place that are going to make us even grow even more. I think being conservative, finishing under 10,000 for this year, but I'll take it. We have a 3-year model plan of where we want to be, and if we keep following it, it's going to look really good, And so at that point, I think we'll definitely look to raise some capital. At the same time, I'm not looking to raise capital and give up a lot of equity, because now there's things about like pre-revenue companies and whatnot. It could be pre-revenue and get $5 million.
A super high valuation just with like an idea.
Right. And then I can actually show actual revenue and numbers, and they're like, oh, wow, this is really risky. It's like,
Yeah. Well,
how's
because
this doing this?
the thing with VCs is like they want like massive. They're like, if this isn't sell for $3 billion, then this isn't worth, or at minimum like $3 billion, and this isn't worth doing. If you're telling me that this is a business that can grow to like $100 million business,
Yeah.
that's not gonna cut it for us.
No, and that's it. That's exactly what we found, and what we've heard from other people. And it's just one of those things where it's like, I have the vision in my head. I know where they will see the vision at. I know how many numbers I would need if I would ever want to entertain that. And then again, it's like, if I want to hit that numbers where I can entertain that, it's now I'm bringing enough revenue in every month on my own. I was asked once by someone, and not that I'm either one, but he goes, "Do you want to be a rich, or do you want to be rich, or do you want to be a king?" And it's like, do you want to go the VC route and be rich, or do you want to be a king and own what you have? And I've thought about that often. Do I want to be rich, or do I want to be a king? So I essentially,
you're like, I'll put on my crown. I'm wearing my hat right now. He's wearing his CanMonkey hat. And
that's my thing. As long as I can keep doing this with the people that help me do it and help me get to this point, and we feel like we can keep doing what we're doing. Because if I would have listened to a lot of people from in the very beginning, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now. Not that I know more than other people. I just haven't really listened to the naysayers. I haven't listened to people and their advice. I've had a good feeling and good intuition. I followed it. So it's helped us get to this point. But I also know what helps you get you here doesn't help you get you there. And I've never ran a business with hundreds of employees. I've never done that before. So there's going to get to a point where I'm going to need to bring on some advisors and people along the way that have seen things that I haven't seen. And we've done that. We just brought on Jen Ford, who was the CFO of Turnkey, who got bought out by La Casa, and they're, acquiring them. So she's phenomenal. She's really known in the industry. That helps us give even more validity to our business, and makes us even, more of a hot commodity. It's not just two guys that created a business by accident. Now it's two guys that created a business by accident, but now attracting people who
you've got the names associated with it, which add the instant credibility.
Yeah.
And I guess, I'm a question, because you probably, while we're talking, I'm trying to think of like another just like service. I mean, Amazon comes to your house to deliver packages, whatever, maybe come 7 days a week if you're that much of a shopaholic. Right. But other than that, I mean, your landscaper maybe comes once a week or once every other week or something. You are probably, you're there the most. Your can runners are there more than anybody else. So I guess I'm curious, like, what else can they do while they're there? Or is there something else that they can do that like is unique to them that, Amazon isn't doing?
I love that you're thinking about this, because that's something exactly what we're looking for right now. And not believe, but when we turn into the logistical technology company, that's where it opened the door for everything that you're saying right now. It's the fact that we're at your property sometimes 16 times a month, that we already get asked from our clients, "Hey, Alex, I know you'll be at the property today to take the can to the curb. Can you go get that package at my front door and take it in the garage?" They already know that we're going to be there. They already trust us. They know that they're going to have basically someone at the property. And they leverage that. We now need to get to the point where we leverage that too. Where
what are the common things that are asked, and how can you like put that into your workful and have it in a way where the runner can like open their app and like see, I need to do this. Oh, maybe mail. I don't know.
It. Mail. No, that's it. It's mail. It's inspections in the property from the property managers, making sure the Wi-Fi works, making sure the lockbox code works, making sure the lights are turned on. It's making sure the propane tanks are filled. It's making sure that the pool heater's on. It's making sure that they want CanMonkey. They want the snow plow, during the wintertime. They want, it's all those things. And it's not even just being the Angie's List where, we're like another company. It's the fact that we're actually providing the vendors. And so it's what we're doing even with the on-demand trash removal. You asked earlier, we have that service for our clients if they need the junk removal gone. And what we're doing is we're outsourcing it to a third-party vendor that's in our network that we've already background checked, that we've already gone through, that we already negotiated the pricing. So if you would call 1-800-JUNK to remove a can, they're going to charge you $200. You now do it with CanMonkey, we're going to get down within our pricing of like $49 for the first trash.
Yeah, and that's actually, frankly, I'm so happy I know that, because I think in Florida when we had issues, and my buddy set it up, so I've never seen the app because my business partner, I told him, I was like, we need to use CanMonkey, and he's in charge of, he does like the dealing with like the payment. So he put the card in and I guess got the app account. So, but I didn't know you guys did the actual removal as well. So that's, for my individual purposes, that's really good to hear. But yeah, I feel like just things that are like easy to do. Yeah. While you're at the house, like, yeah, just make sure that, maintenance checks, like stuff that you can just do in a couple minutes.
The only thing that we need to do a little bit differently is maybe just do a little bit more different background checks on those individuals, those can runners.
Sure.
I mean, those can runners, I don't know if that would be the same can runner that's taking the cans to the curb. Maybe it's someone differently that we're able to leverage. And this is, once again, we're able to leverage our connection. So I'm going to Jeremy that has 2 properties, plus I'm going to Joe that has 15. I'm going to Michelle who has 20. So now I got 37 properties. And now I'm doing all the same thing. And then now I can make a route out of that. And it's the same thing with like the departure dates. It's, hey, Alex, these 20 properties have departure dates on this day. Can you make sure that all the properties have trash can removed the next day? So now I go to all those 20 properties and remove all the trash at every single property, just regardless, just so that way the new arriving guests don't see anything. So once again, we're really good instruction takers. We've gotten the workforce, we've gotten the logistics down, we have the application in place. And how we see this going down is like a platform for all services for vacation rental clients. And not even just vacation rentals, even homeowners as well. To your point, it's like, what else can we do when we're at your property? If you know we're going to be there and you want the packages in the garage because it's raining outside, let's do it for you. Maybe it's an extra $10, or whatever it is. But at least you trust the CanMonkey brand. You trust the fact that we're at your property. We're already there. But yeah, you're 1,000,000% on it. And that's what we're looking to do next is implement these other platforms onto our services, onto our platform, other services onto our platform so we can help our clients with other stuff.
Yeah, and I really think, not that you asked at all. You did not ask at all. And I know you're like, the VC people who came in and told you, you've got to hit 25,000 properties in order for me to even consider, like, I need to see your projections right now. Why do you not have, the charts and everything built out perfectly? Right. So not to be that guy, but I just think that the trend that you really have like in your favor, and this is like a trend that I think about, like, how do we, I don't want to say like the word capitalize, but like there's going to be issues that our country faces and our world faces, and already a large swath of the world is already facing this issue. But then how do we provide solutions that remedy these issues? And the issue I'm talking about is an aging demographic, like aging. So, for example, I heard this stat the other day, and it was crazy. But it was like China, for example, they have 1.4 billion people right now. How many people are they going to have in the year? This is a little bit to do with aging, but also to do with the fact that they're not having children. So this is like a huge, like, just something we're going to see happen. And in the U.S., we're just. But how many people do you think China's going to have in 2100? 1.4 billion today. Yeah. 1.4 billion today. What are they going to have in 2100?
2 billion.
500 million.
Whoa. It's going down?
It's going down. It's going down fast, too.
A lot.
Yep. And it's because it's an aging population. There's a lot of old people. There's people who are working right now, but they're going to be retiring, soon. And in order for population to go up, you've got to have for population to stay the same, each person needs to have 2.1 kids. China did the whole one child policy. So they're well below that 2.1. And if you're above 2.1, you're exponentially going up. If you're below, you're exponentially going down. So it's only gets exacerbated. Japan's already having decreased population. The US, we have increasing population, largely thanks to immigration. But we're having an aging population. Most of the wealth, as well as just most of the population in America is 50 to the baby boomers are the biggest demographic. Currently, they're kind of working, they're reaching retirement. But what happens when the baby boomers are all 80? And they've got all the money. They've got all the money and they're all old. What are the type of services that are needed at that point? One thing, something I think about is they're going to be selling their businesses. These people own all the businesses. They own all the services. Who's going to buy them? Who's going to run these businesses? I know you're watching Succession. Who's going to be the one who succeeds? But also, who's going to take care of them? They're 80, 90 years old. And that's where I think, CanMonkey, they're at their house every day. They're at their house. I don't know how, I mean, I don't expect them to be caretakers, but like, I don't know, they check in on them, make sure they're alive. Like what do they do?
No, you're right, man. I mean, we just partnered with a company called Home Wash as well that does this for like second homes and property owners and elderly. And no, and you're right. There's a whole slew of different services that we can provide, and I think that's what even Instacart reached out to us about a year and a half ago about asking us how we're finding can runners because they knew that we were stealing drivers from them. I'm like, how do you even know who we are? So we're getting something along the lines within our community, which I think that, to your point, Amazon, Grubhub, Uber Eats, all those different gig economy jobs, those drivers don't know what they're driving that day. They don't know how much work they're going to get. They're just hoping. And even on the Amazon, flex routes, you don't know if you're doing the same route. Like I'm not ordering anything from Amazon anytime soon. I did a lot, so they came to my house often, but now they're not, right? So with us, we're staying consistent with that. So I think that's where in our workforce and what we have, I think that other companies will, like other gig jobs or companies will come to us and use our workforce. So I think our workforce, as much as I'm talking about short-term rentals and in that industry, I think our other clients, these gig drivers, will come and play and helping with these other services like you're saying, because we have them on staff essentially, but we don't, but we do because we know we have the same routes for them. And if they don't want to work it, that's fine. We'll find someone else. But for the most part, they're always scheduling the same route. They're staying consistent. They're staying persistent. And I think that's where these other services will come in handy because they're looking for more jobs. And if they're already, coming to a job they're getting the most income from, not the most income, but most consistent income from, they're going to want to know what else we have to offer.
Yeah, and I love that because again, I love your approach and thinking about how you're servicing them too. And It's also, what services can you provide the runners as you get more and more of them? So, yeah, man, I think you're really onto something great. Like, I don't think just keep doing what you're doing. And like, I just think things are going in your direction. Like there's huge value of the fact that consistently being at houses 3-4 times a week. Yeah. Obviously where that goes or what, trends and softwares and different life, world changing events happen that lead to XYZ, who fucking knows? But you don't have to know that today because you haven't raised any money from anybody. So you're not forced to do anything.
No, and you're right. And it reminds me as well. I remember State Farm had reached out like 3 years ago, not even 2 years ago. And I don't even know how they heard about us, but they had heard that we take photos of properties. And they had reached out to see if they could get our photos that we take of the properties and see what was it? It was like a hailstorm that had happened. And they said, hey, we understand you take photos of properties and you have a property on this neighborhood. Can you send us all the photos that you have taken of this property from this day on so we can compare the hailstorm that happened on this day with the photos you have from the day, like the other days? And I was like, what? And like, yeah, we'll pay you per photo. And that's when I realized that data is the next dollar. And that's when I realized that I have all this data, all these photos. Now, who would want to pay for this? Well, here's an example of a State Farm, an insurance company that wanted to compare the damage done from a hail, storm on a property that they're insuring, and want to make sure that that hailstorm was not, that damage was not there the last week, but was there this week. And they used, I don't know if they actually used our photos, never heard anything back from it. Didn't even know if I was supposed to send them the photos, but we sent them the photos and, they looked at it. So anyways, that's something where I could go after insurance companies and say, you guys want photos? You want to see, or you want photos of the garages? I mean, what if a garage company said, hey, I want photos of all the garages that you go to so I can see if I can sell them, new garages or new garage, whatever it is. So,
or like, hey, we want access to your, sales vertical. Like, hey, can you drop off free samples of like products? Like that's, I'm trying to think while we're talking here, but like you can, hey, we're going to send you like 400 XYZ with like cause most of the time, you send something in the mail, you can't like, it's just in a UPS like package, it's not like, the gift out with like the thing, the freaking note on it, that's something that you can't, UPS isn't doing that. Amazon isn't doing that. But you can do that. You could they could send you 400, whatever. You get your centralized place. You take them all out. Or maybe whatever, however it happens, you can drop things off right there, and they have the note on that.
You're right. And the cool thing from our dashboard is I can see all the routes that we're running and all the properties that are like in the market. Like you look at a Google, map, I basically have every single property that's on subscription. So I can even say like to a company, hey, which property, what area would you like me to drop these off at? Here's all the properties that I will be at, and here's the routes. The opportunities are limitless. And that's where, like, if I really think about, I being in the real estate industry background, there's a couple things that stayed with me in growing CanMonkey. And one of the main things that I stuck true to was Gary Keller's book, The One Thing. And the one thing for me was CanMonkey. And it was so easy, especially in the beginning when you're selling a product for $35, $40, making no profit margins at it. It's a strictly volume based.
Charity.
Yeah, you're basically getting to a point like, okay, what else do I need? You got to do something else, bring all the revenue in. And it's so easy for me to say, like, you know what? It wasn't CanMonkey, but I'm going to start doing PoolMonkey now because I'm making more money in PoolMonkey. Like, it was so easy for me to jump ship.
Oh, you stayed focused on it.
I stayed focused on it. And that's where now it's like going through it. It's like we stayed focused on this one thing. It built out, and now it feeds all the other services that we would want to add into, because CanMonkey is the one thing that's different than any other services. But like, can I do CanMonkey in any market right now? Yeah, because there's no one else really doing it.
Honestly, at first, I thought, just to be completely honest, I thought that there was someone who was doing something similar just for all houses. And like, you were like, I'm going to do what their model is, but focus on short-term rentals. And what I've learned through this podcast is that was not the case at all.
No. No one was doing this for the homes. And that's our biggest issue. And that's why I don't go after the homeowners right away, because the biggest issue is that people don't know that this service exists, and that when they do hear about it initially, if they're a homeowner, it's like a negative connotation. I don't need to pay you to take my cans to curb. I could do that myself. Like, why would I do that? And then it's like one of those drips, then it's like, wait, that actually sounds nice. Wait, I actually forget my trash every week. Wait, I actually would love that. Wait, I'm actually going on vacation. Wait, no, I need that. So with the homeowner is a little bit longer of a sales process. When I talk to a vacation rental client, it's instantly. It's like, where have you been all my life?
Yeah, that was what for me. I saw that tweet and I was like,
yes.
Holy shit. Like, yes, sign up. What's the price? I don't care.
And that's what it is.
Credit card in.
And that's what it is for the home. So that's what I'm saying. Like, that's why the vacation rentals, that's our foot in the door. And now that I have a route that's in that market, now if a homeowner wants to take a trip or add on one property, I'd gladly add you on a property on a route that I already have operational. And now it makes it a little bit more condensed. Now I add you right in. I already know I can service it. Boom. Now the can runner has an extra stop. Now it's a little bit better of a route. And then now I go get more people. So that's where, like, if I raise capital, and what I would do with that would be to make my routes I have right now more condensed by reaching out to the neighbors, marketing to them. And really, if I look at my whole CAC, my whole cost of acquisition of client, it's very low. It's me as a sales guy. It's me going to conferences. It's us, spending money on conferences. But really, that's all it is. I'm not spending money on marketing outside of Facebook ads, barely. But that would be the next thing, is that, like, going on like a TV ad, billboard ad, radio ad, something along those lines.
I think honestly, two things. And again, not that you've asked, because you haven't. Two things: Facebook ads targeting age demographics of, I don't know, whatever, 65 and over. Mm-hmm. So targeted Facebook ads. Second, inside sales to these like designer communities. Yep. Where they can offer that as an amenity. Mm-hmm. That would be, I'd say I would, at least you would see what happens. I mean, at Facebook ads, you don't have to hire someone to do. You can, but inside sales would, you'd probably want to train someone, go through the process, get them on your LinkedIn or whatever. Because I know you've been building your LinkedIn juice. So getting them to go through your account and reach out to the right people for that.
I would love it inside sales. I mean, even the people who are interested in the service and they, see the Facebook ads, they still want to talk to someone sometimes. Because once again, it's like, so wait, what are you guys doing? You guys come to my house when? Like, are you guys coming in my garage? Like, they still don't understand the concept, So you still kind of need someone. At one point, we do actually, I don't know the numbers, but we do have a lot of people that just sign on that we never talk to. And I love it. I love the fact that not that I want to talk to them, but I just love the fact that they can like log in. It's a true platform. They log in, the property goes right onto a route. They don't ever have to ask a question. They go right. It goes seamlessly. I love it. I love talking to people too, because I love, how they hear about us, because we are a startup. I love the Facebook ad work? Fuck yeah. Like, I love learning that stuff.
And one thing you could do with a Facebook ad too, that's like very just based off your situation, geographically, you're in certain zip codes, so you can just hammer those 65-year-olds in this zip code. So have you ran Facebook ads yet?
We do Google ads and Facebook ads, and that's so we do. But I'm spending maybe like $100 to $300 a month. I'm not doing anything. We've never done anything big. I mean, at one point, I didn't want to be too big, because I told you my head was in the ground. Yeah. I didn't want to be too big because I didn't want to fuck up. I didn't want to say that I was going to do your can't take your can on the curb, and then we shit the bed, and then you're like, dude, this sucks. Like, you got to think about this. I have one first impression, but I'm also at your property 16 times a month. That's 200 times a year. Like, I'm dealing with humans. We're not perfect. I might be 99%, 96% accurate, but there's going to be an issue every once in a while. It's just inevitable, whether it's my fault or our fault, or whether we didn't do anything wrong, but you think we did something wrong, or whether a client, a guest took the wrong whatever it is. Like, there's things that go wrong. And I was not like paralyzed by that, but there was a point like didn't want to be perfect, but it's like, look, I can't go out there and sell this if we're not providing the service that we're actually giving.
Totally. You didn't want to grow too quick. Right. And again, this is another situation where if you were a VC backed company, they would have said, figure out how to provide that. Like, what, you turned down a customer? Like, oh my goodness. Like,
you're right.
They would have sent you that long email. They would have sent you a terrible email.
No, and it's like, and you're 1,000,000% right. And it's like when you talk to these companies, they're like, well, why do you turn down these companies? Like, well, I'm trying to show profit. And it's like, what? Like, I'm trying to run a business like a business. And
you want
like,
a hockey stick. I don't see.
Yeah, and that's what and it's like, look, I could get that if you guys want that, but then I got to take on everything. I got to lower my prices. They're like, yeah, do it. I'm like, no, I'm running a business. Like, and then it's like, I do that. And it's like, oh, why don't you guys sell your prices higher? And it's like, you can never win. And so that's why at the end of the day, I'm just trying to run a good business, a solid business, sustainable business, profitable business, a scalable business, and a business that, people can, that need, not just now, but for time to come. And trash is something that never sleeps, even on holidays. Maybe it changes the day, but it's always going. And it's just one of those, we found a niche and we're exploiting
recession proof. Trash is recession proof.
It was. I mean, it was during the pandemic. I mean, we scaled during the pandemic. So now lets me know it's even, pandemic proof. It's like, it's one of those things where like, as long as people are renting the properties out and people are traveling in Airbnbs, and as long as that's a thing, and as long as people have second homes, and as long as people are going to their second homes and have trash and people are, have an easier life, like this, we're going to keep being here. And I think if anything, we're just getting started.
Well, easier life. That's what I think the trend. I'm curious, do people, because like you put mail in the mailbox, do people then want that mail like brought right next to their door? Like where instead of in their mailbox, it's literally they can open the front door and the mail is there. Has that like ever been anything you've seen?
Yeah, no, they want us to, because you got to think about some of these people don't live there, right? So they want us to pick their mail and put it in the garage. They want us, we have the garage code. People will, some of these Airbnbs have lockbox codes on them so they can, change the password whenever they want. They're all like, smart houses. So we have people tell us all the time, call us when you're there and we'll open the door for you. And it's like, it's
a little, what if you don't pick up? Or runners waiting around for 10 minutes.
Yeah. Like we don't like, so
you want the checklist. They can go on their app and when they show up, they see bang, 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 bang. These are like what I need to do.
Yes, and I want to make sure it's like my good guy Jeremy on it, and not like the one that's kind of skeptical that I don't know, So like, I want to make sure that I have the right person doing it and making sure, and that's the thing. Like we have that. I just want to make sure that I have, I got to know all the information in advance to make sure we can do it. So
and you stay away from like certain liabilities is
probably 1,000,000%, and that's why we've been able to kind of like not be under the radar, but like what we do is just handle the cans. We take the cans to curb and back. Like when we did our insurance policies, so like we can't have you guys go in the backyard. Like, why? People do it and landscapers do it. Like, oh, I guess you're right. So like everything we've done has been built specifically for us because there's no other company doing what we're doing. So like everything has been custom built for our business.
No, I love it, man. I'm all about it. I would love to. I mean, I know we're still. This is actually probably the longest podcast I've ever had. I'm going to be completely honest. This is probably by 25 minutes the longest episode that I've ever done. But I guess for folk here who are still with us, which, you guys have been on for an absolute ride today. Where can, one thing I like to ask is like, what is your pro tip? So what is your, whether it be short-term rentals or business, short-term rental parallel business, what is your pro tip?
What we alluded to earlier about, it being cliche is just do it. Whatever you're looking to do in your real estate business, if you're not sure if you should pivot, if you're not sure, you should implement this new tool, if you're not sure that, B&B calc is going to work for you, whatever it is, just do it. You'd never be mad if trying something out and checking it off your list of something it would work or not. In our business, going after short-term rentals was a big fight between my business partner and I. And if we didn't just do it, we would never have known. Our whole CanMonkey wouldn't be here. He was after homeowners. I was after everything we've done in our business has been a fight in some aspect, not a fight, but like I had to sell my point to him. He had to sell his point.
Yin and yang.
The yin and yang, you have to have that. So for me, it's like, I've never taken what people told me for what it is. I've always tried to make sure that I tried it. And if someone says I can't do it, that I want to do it, so just do it, whatever it is. And, it's ambiguous, but that's just my best pro tip to anything is if you have an inclination about doing something, just do it.
I love that. And also, so how can folk find you and follow your journey?
LinkedIn would be my best thing. I love LinkedIn. I last year I commented or messaged or I posted every day, and it's something that I have now like found that like I have like my journey on there. I don't post like something business every day, but something on there is every day about something along CanMonkey, entrepreneurship, journey, startup. Also on Instagram, Facebook, but for business aspects, LinkedIn. Go to CanMonkey.com, check out our website, see how we can help you, see if we're in your market. And we'd love an opportunity to learn about anyone's business. And if I can't help, maybe I have like, input of what someone else has done in the market, that what they've done. Like I said, I don't recreate the wheel. And in any even in a market that I'm not in, I can tell you what other people have done that's worked for them to maybe help mitigate some issues that someone has. I'd be open to helping out.
And guys, Alex's content on LinkedIn is gold. I knew of CanMonkey, but I didn't know of Alex. And then I, saw someone liked his post, and I've been following him. And I actually I've been trying to be consistent. I wasn't one post a day on LinkedIn, but I was like, I've got to just start posting on LinkedIn. And then I think I saw your post saying, showing how, kind of like your exponential growth on LinkedIn over the year. And I was like, holy crap. And now I haven't committed to every day of the week, or every day, but I've committed like Monday, Friday. I'm going to post something Monday, Friday. And I think that was thanks to seeing your post and being like, that sounds like a good idea.
And I think, and how I kind of prefaced this before, is that our biggest issue is that people didn't know that we exist. And like I said, I had put my head down in the ground for so long that after I kind of realized, but once I was like, what, maybe I have something. Why am I keeping this? Why am I hiding this? Like, I need to start sharing this. I'm just going to put it out there. And if anything, it holds me accountable. It holds my team accountable. If we said we're going to do something, we're doing it. If we're in a new market, we're in a market. So you can't really hide from that. And I like that aspect of being transparent and holding us all accountable. But yeah, I mean, I've done something now where I post, on Monday, but you can schedule it for later. So now,
thank you for that.
So I used to have to post every day. And then I was like, you know what? Or I can just take 30 minutes and post for the whole week on one day. So you just have to have some snapshots of ideas that you want, some thought process of what you want to post. And you just schedule out for each day at a certain time. And then you just forget about it. And then each day when that time hits, it just promotes. So that's a little cheat code for you. It took me like 8 months to figure that out.
Hey, that's why we're here. I want this. If people are listening, we want cheat codes.
It saved me a lot of time toward the end, because I still wanted to post. Sometimes I forgot to post until like the night of, and I would have a lot of a lot of ideas, and I just, because once you're in that thought process, but this would be good. Well, and then I would have 5 things. That's Monday through Friday, done. And so,
beautiful. Well, that is a tangible pro tip as well. So, yeah. Alex, man, this has been a fun ride here. Thank you so much for coming. And, for everybody listening, stay tuned to the next episode of the Short Term Rental Pros podcast.